Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex and this is Eurospec Garage. We're back to work on the Audi S3 Cabrio. I know it's not a real S3 Cabrio because it started out with an A3, but it's gonna have all the S3 parts in it, so whatever, right? But anyway, hope you guys are doing well. It's been a while since I've posted, had vacation and things like that, so very happy that you're joining me today. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of update you guys. I did some stuff off camera, and let me just show you what I did. So to kind of catch you guys up, so far what we've done is we've taken the interior out of the A3, or actually of both cars. We've also swapped the engines, and off camera what I did is I actually installed the subframe. That was really easy. I mean, 4 bolts and things like that. Put in the front suspension components and also replace the rear floor. So that was a really big one, and I did not film it because I was taking it really slow, and honestly it wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but I did my absolute best, as professional as possible. I really consulted with all of the experts on how to do this, and it came out okay. But let me kind of show you guys what we got going on. So if you take a look at our trusty Audi S3, we have no floor, no subframe, and no fuel tank. I removed all those things and cut out the floor, and then went ahead and installed it over here. So if you guys remember, if you look down here, this is kind of the tool section, kind of in this divot there, but this floor is raised. The original floor in this car was all this depth all the way across. That would not have given us enough room for the subframe, the differential, and the S3 exhaust that's going to go on this car. And so really just kind of installed this. So I'm going to show you guys here from the top, and as you can see, I already have the Audi S3 subframe underneath, getting ready to go in. But let me kind of show you guys what we got going on. So essentially what I did is I cut over here. If you take a real close look right here, the actual floor panel, it's not joined here. It's actually one piece. If you look back there, it's one piece, and it goes under these other sections. So I did not want to unweld and break up the entire rear end of the car and do more disassembly. So instead, I cut right along here on both sides, and from that car made sure to take ample measurements and cut only once. And so I did that, and also I separated this rear plate from that plate. I removed that first, installed that first, welded it in the original spot weld places. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I did make sure to epoxy things and things like that. So I installed that, and then I went ahead and put this main floor beam in place. Let me get down under the car and show you guys so you can take a look underneath. You can see some of that seam where I welded, and then of course the support pieces and the suspension, the rear spring perches. I also welded those back on, but now the floor is very rigid, very stout. It is not moving whatsoever. It is also watertight. I used 3M body panel adhesive, as well as welds, and also some adhesive on top. And then if you take a look up here, this black stuff that you see here is truck bed liner. So I really made sure to go in and protect this stuff as much as possible. And if we look under here, this is where the fuel tank is gonna go. I'm about to go and show you guys outside what that looks like. But also that is where our prop shaft is gonna go. So another thing that I did, if you take a look, that hole already existed. That is where the fuel sender unit access panel is. I had to cut this hole out as well because the all-wheel drive module wiring is going to come through here, just like the sedan. And then if you look over there, the engine compartment is entirely assembled. And I have also ran the brake lines. These are from the S3 sedan. And the reason I ran these is because these brake lines are actually different on the all-wheel drive cars than they are on the front-wheel drive cars. So when I get the subframe in, these are going to plug in to place in these spots, and it's going to be fully factory. But right now, before we put the subframe in, we have to put before we put the subframe in, we have to put the fuel tank in. And so let me go outside and show you guys the differences between the sedan and the convertible. So if you guys take a look here, this is the sedan fuel tank and that is the Cabrio fuel tank. So if you immediately take a look at the difference, the actual tanks themselves are the same. I'm pretty sure they're the same body, they're the same part number. However, the necks are different. So if you remember on the Cabrio, the neck is in front of the rear wheel and lower down, whereas on the sedan it's above the rear wheel and behind it a little bit. But what I did is I actually just swapped everything over from that tank onto this tank, including the wiring. This is for, I believe, for emissions. Ran that, also swapped over all of these lines, getting them ready to plug in where needed, and of course the mounting tabs as well. They're here. So yeah, I went through everything. I replaced the sender from that tank to this tank, and we should be ready to go. And just as a reminder, this is the front-wheel drive tank. This is the all-wheel drive tank. So if you can see, the capacity in this tank, I'm pretty sure, is 14 or 15 gallons. And this one I'm pretty sure is, I'll have to double check, but this tank is bigger than this tank. As you can see, this is the front wheel drive tank. The prop shaft would actually run right about there, and this tank actually has the provisions for the prop shaft to run in between it. So yeah guys, I hope this is making sense. The Cabrios, if you take a look at the fuel door, the actual filler neck is in a different spot, so that's why you need a different tank, unless you're really good and really trust your plastic welding on flammable components. But we're ready to go with that. Let me go ahead and set you guys up and go and install this tank. We finally have the all-wheel drive convertible fuel tank in, and you can probably see from the last scene until now I'm wearing different clothes. I have a different haircut. It's been a few days. Went on a trip, had an interview, got an offer, so things are moving along in my personal life, and so that's why this car project had to kind of take a little breather. As you guys can see, the fuel tank is in. So let's go and take a look at what we have. And as you can see here, we have the rear differential getting ready, but that is number one. So let's take a look here. This is the fuel tank. The way it's attached is there's one mounting point right here. You guys can see I transferred this one over from the sedan. It holds it up here in the center. And there are two bands that hold the fuel tank upright in the up position. So these are 13mm bolts. These holes did not exist in the front wheel drive version, so I had to drill these in and put some thread inserts in there in order to make this work. So that's actually what you guys saw in the last clip before the fuel tank went in. I was putting up the fuel tank and I realized, oh no, I don't have the right holes in place, so I had to put the fuel tank down, go ahead, weld this guy, and drill these holes. And guys, let me tell you, drilling these holes is very, very difficult, and the reason for that is these structural components are made out of boron, and boron is very, very difficult to drill. So literally the way I did it is I started with a small bit, took a couple minutes to get through, and then just increased the bit size until I got to the right thread insert size. And finally was able to put these guys in. I made sure to take the measurements off of the sedan over there in order for me to be able to put them in the right place. So all of the measurements are correct, and this thing is sitting perfectly right in here. If we look up there, that's the fuel door. This convertible, as I mentioned before, has different mounting points to the sedan. So this door is right up there on this side of the wheel well, whereas the sedan, it's actually behind. So the convertible would actually be right over there. The sedan is there. So anyway, that's why this fuel tank is specific to the Cabrio. And then after that, I'm gonna put the fuel gas emissions breather over here. If you guys can see right there next to the shock. I'm gonna bring that one over, hook everything up, bolt up, and we can put the fuel door back in place and call it a day on the fuel tank situation. And of course, before I put anything else on, I'm going to go and take the heat shield that I took off here so that this is protected from the exhaust. And then go up top, connect wires in the top, and the fuel tank will be ready to go, not to be messed with. Once again, the fuel lines for the car are right here. So if you take a look right there, fuel lines going there to the engine. They hook up on this side here. So we got one white one, one black one. We got that all good to go. But so far so good. We're making good progress. I'm gonna hook up the fuel tank, make sure that everything there is good to go. And then we're gonna move on, try to finagle this rear differential up into place here. Everything else is ready for it. So let's do our best. Thanks, guys.